Learning to conquer severe parental anxiety. It's clear that parenting is stressful, but what actually happens when the burden simply becomes unbearable?
Yeah, experts say mom or dad stress almost always spreads throughout the entire family. Joining us now to talk about all of this, licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. George James. Dr. James, good to have you with us. Lots of questions here. So first, take us through what this stress looks like and what takes it beyond like the normal ups and downs of parenting. And also, how does it affect the kids?
Yeah, Vicky, what happens for lots of parents is that we all get anxious at some point or another. But for some parents, they can feel that anxiety in an overwhelming way, where what they start to feel like is that they want to protect their children from everything, which is shielding behaviors, or they sometimes are talking about how nervous they are around their children, or just become so overwhelmed with their child or things that can happen, which is called catastrophizing, that now they focus their whole life on trying to prevent these things. And it's just so overwhelming that not only do they feel it, but their children feel it as well.
Speaking of which, I mean, it's pretty easy to suggest therapy to a parent when they're feeling this way, but it's not always financially or logistically even possible for a lot of families. So what's your advice to parents who are facing anxiety but sort of can't access just adequate professional help?
For a lot of parents, it's being able to recognize what might be some of the things that might be causing it for them. What are some of the things that might have started this for them? And sometimes they don't always know. Well, that maybe it's their own personal history, or maybe it's something they've experienced, or maybe it's just something that was there from before. But some things that parents can do to really think about ways to manage this is to talk to other parents. Exercise is always great. It helps to calm us down. Breathing is also something that's great. And I mentioned catastrophizing, being ways to think about the facts so that you don't bring up or make up things that are not really true. Once again, maybe even talking to a partner in confidence. These are all ways that can help you that are financially affordable. And then, of course, a therapist is also something that's good.
Oh, I like that. Those are really useful ways that we can help ourselves. Let's switch gears a little and talk about unconventional parenting styles. When I think about this, I think of the sitcoms where they make fun of the parent who's like, I don't say no to my child. We never say no. It's Jimmy. Let's do this instead. But, there are many ways to parent.
No, not in my house either.
Not in my house.
Wow, that doesn't even sound familiar.
But let's say you feel like you may be targeted or people are ridiculing you for doing things a little differently, maybe than you were raised. What are ways that you can steal your own confidence and feel good about the way that you are raising your children?
Yeah, the truth is that every parent or family system veers off in one way or another, does something that's different than what is the norm of the day. And so you have to have confidence in yourself that you're doing that for a particular reason. Confidence in you and your partner and your family system say, this is what we feel is right. And my thing is, as long as you're not causing significant harm to your child or children, then that's fine. And, like I know in my household, right, we weren't going to call adults by their first name. That's just not possible. Right.
Ooh,
but
not even
some
at
other
the
people
house.
that might be okay, right? So, there's some things that you adjust as you parent, and you take those chances. And if it doesn't work, you switch it up and try something else.
Be flexible. I like that.
Yeah, so interesting. I mean, it's so different, right? Family to family, country to country, regional differences, right? I mean, there's a lot to sort of think about there. But do you find that sort of in your experience that parental anxiety is seen sort of almost exclusively as a new mom or dad phenomenon? I mean, what about parents who are just dealing with kids who are going through different transitional phases in their life, going through puberty or their teenage years? I mean, is it possible that parental anxiety can strike then?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, big time. I think like when there's major events, traumatic events, difficult events, we've seen the impact of the pandemic, of racial reckoning, right? All those things. Injustice has caused a huge spike in anxiety for parents. I don't want my child or children to be hurt because of these things, but also transitional things. And also when we see our children struggling, when you see them struggling in school or struggling to meet new friends or to get on the athletic team or whatever it might be, those things can spike our anxiety because we want to care. We just want to hug them. We just want to here, come to daddy, come to mommy. We'll take care of you.
I know. It's not just the babies and the new parents. You're right. As you move through the stages, adolescence can put a lot of stress on mom and dad. On that note, is it different for parents? I mean, in terms of does this hit mom differently than it hits dad? And how do you cope if you're the parent, the male or the female?
I think outwardly it looks different, right? Typically, right? This is just, stereotypically in some of the things I've seen, you'll see a lot of moms will be more engaged, sometimes more hands-on, kind of like fully in the midst of whatever is going on. And dads can seem like they're a little bit like on the surface, but internally, they're worrying, they're concerned, they're probably talking to their friends, right? So it comes out in different ways. And I think this is where, if they're partners, you can level up in different ways.
Yeah.
The father can say a little bit more, and maybe mom can hold back a little bit. And that's where you can work together.
It's funny, we have a role reversal in our family.
What do you mean?
But what if you're a single parent? Like, I'm more the not surface person.
The non-surface
because
person?
I'm the man in the,
that's
like
interesting.
with that, the worrying
Like
and the
you'll show
whatnot.
it a little bit less. Oh,
yeah,
that's
exactly,
interesting.
very much so. Real quick, what about a single parent? Because you talk about relying on your partner, which is vital. But what if you don't have that other partner there?
Yeah, the shout out to all the single parents out there. Lots of credit in all the work that you do. I think it's having a system, having support. Who can you connect with?
All right, really important information. Licensed family and marriage therapist, Dr. George James. Dr. James, thank you so much for joining us.
You're watching NBC News Daily.